I'm Pippa. I live in Leeds in England, north of England. I was diagnosed with vulvar cancer in January 2023. I'm a big foodie. I love cooking, baking. I actually work within the food industry. Love getting out for walks and hikes. I also have a huge passion for Lego. Collect a lot of Lego. I love to travel abroad and go to new places and experience. I started with quite a sore, itchy patch inside my left labia. It didn't matter how much I itched it, which I couldn't itch it for long because it was sore, what over-the-counter creams and medications I used, because I thought it could be something like thrush. Nothing was getting rid of it. And I just kept persevering with it. And it got to the point where it had developed into quite what they describe as a wart-like lump. And even like the over-counter creams, which have like a bit of lidocaine in them, even that wasn't killing the pain, and I was just so uncomfortable, like walking, standing, sitting. So I went to see my doctor and just said something's not right here, because whilst I had the pain and the itching, I was also bleeding and having like a bloody discharge as well, and also bleeding during sex as well. And it got to the point I didn't even want to have sex because it was painful. So that's when I made an appointment with my doctor. Thankfully, because this cancer is rare, the doctor that I went to, she'd actually seen this type of cancer before. Um, and she said to me, it's either an infected cyst or you've got cancer. I knew in my heart that it was cancer because the antibiotics she gave me, just to make sure it wasn't a cyst, infected cyst, I'd had a chest infection about a month previous, and it was the same antibiotics. So I thought if it was going to have done anything, it would have worked 4 weeks ago, and it hasn't. It's actually got worse. Um, so I took the antibiotics for a week, went back to see the doctor. She was actually leaving the practice that week, and she said to me, we could try some other antibiotics, but I think it's best we get you referred to the hospital on a fast track and get you checked out properly, because if it's not made any difference, it's actually got worse. It was basically to go for a biopsy. And I chatted to the doctor that was doing it, talked him through everything that I'd been experiencing, and obviously got me on the bed and said, well, I want to examine you first before I do the biopsies. And as soon as he looked at me, he says, yeah, you've got early stage vulvar cancer, which it was a shock, but it wasn't a shock because I'd already realised in my heart that it was definitely cancer. He then examined me and talked me through everything and said what he'd be doing would be what's called a wide local excision. So taking obviously the tumour away, a good margin round it, but they would also want to take some lymph nodes as well just to double check. It was not pleasant way. They literally injected radioactive material directly into the tumour to see which lymph node it went to first, and that was without anaesthetic. It hadn't shown on the scans that it was anywhere else, which is why they said it was first stage. Went in and had the surgery, and then went back for the appointment to get the results for everything. And it was that I was told it was stage 3A, because some of the lymph nodes they found that they took from my left groin had actually, 2 of them had cancer encapsulated within them. And he informed me that the reason it didn't show up on the scans is because it has to be in the millions of the cells for it to show up, and mine wasn't, but it still had it in there. So from there, he told me I needed treatment, which hit me hard because I was told all the way through I wouldn't need treatment, so it took a while to process that one. I was a bit stunned, yeah, a bit numb about it, but also I sort of expected it. My gut instinct, since from the start, has been pretty spot on all the way. And I don't know why I sort of had a feeling something might happen. So whilst it was a big shock, it was a case of, right, what's the next step? Let's get on. Let's get this done. It was just over 5 weeks. It was 25 radiotherapy and 5 chemo. So I'd have the radiotherapy Monday to Friday, and then on a Wednesday I would also have the chemotherapy, which was an all-day thing. I'd have to get to the hospital for 8 o'clock. I'd leave about between sort of 4 and 5 in the evening. I did 99% of it on my own because most of the time I didn't feel great. And I just didn't speak to people. I didn't want to have to like hold conversations with people. So I was quite happy sat there watching Netflix or whatever on my phone and just whiling away the time. Fatigue was a big one, which is, I still have fatigue now. My plan through treatment was to be try and eat as healthy as I could and like try and get the nutrients in my body. No, my body just wanted junk food. I didn't have much of an appetite. It was the nausea, the fatigue, loss of appetite, and I was very grumpy. It's a very rare surgery. They don't do it very often, but it was to give me the best chance of trying to remain cancer free. So he said that what would happen would be I would lose most of my large bowel because of it being right near my back passage. And with it being near my back passage, I would lose my back passage and my anus. I had the choice of whether I kept my bladder, but because it was all over, the cancer was all over the opening of my urethra, I decided it wasn't a risk I wanted to take. If I'm having one stoma bag, I might as well have them both. And then it would be a full and total hysterectomy and also removal of my vagina. And what they would do is take skin and tissue and muscle from my abdomen, and the plastic surgeon would then put that down below. I've now got a colostomy and a urostomy bag, which weirdly I don't even think about them anymore. It's just part of normal life now. I get up every day, change them, and do what I need to do with them on a daily.
It's been incredibly tough. Don't really remember much of the first week to 7 days. I'm having to learn to walk again because I'm bedbound most of the day. So with the help of physio, I'm walking a little bit further every day, getting a little bit more independence.
This last one was the biggest and hardest thing I've ever been through. I was in hospital for 8 weeks. I had to learn how to walk again because I literally wasn't allowed to get up for the first 2 weeks. It didn't feel like they were my legs when I first stood up. It was very bizarre and I had no strength in them. I wasn't allowed home until I could manage to change my own stoma bags and I could get upstairs, which is handy because there's 15 steps to get into my house. Um, and it was a constant battle in the hospital of trying to manage the stomas because at first I wasn't allowed to do them myself. It was the stoma team that used to come and do those. So it was making sure I could manage them. But once I got home, I thought, oh, I'll be fine once I get home. I literally couldn't do anything. I mean, even doing the dishes, I couldn't stand up for very long because I lost half of my abs. So even sitting up for like more than 10 minutes was incredibly uncomfortable and painful. But as soon as I'd lay down, it'd stop. I didn't have very much energy. I didn't have much of an appetite. I ended up going back into hospital with a blocked stoma and dehydration because I went through another phase of not being able to keep anything down. It was a very long and slow recovery.
Yesterday, for the first time, I was actually able to sit up in a chair for the first time since surgery, which was, it felt amazing, but also extremely exhausting. I'm having to really use a lot of energy to sit up without any support. But it's very much baby steps at the minute. Each day I'm feeling a bit better and a bit brighter. I can't walk without assistance. And that's getting better and better every day. I'm walking a little bit further every day. I mean, I don't think I've walked more than 50 yards yet, but it's exhausting because, as you imagine, like, I've had a lot of organs taken away. So when I stand up, everything's got to find its new area, and I get quite a bit of pain in my left side when I stand up. So that makes it more difficult. I've lost a lot of muscle in my legs as well.
What they call the NG tube, that was from the last surgery, was basically fed down my nose through to my stomach to feed me. Because after the last surgery, because of all the trauma my abdomen went through my stomach, I couldn't tolerate any type of food. Everything I was eating, I was just being violently sick as soon as I ate it. So I was tube fed for, I'd say, 10 to 14 days. And it was very uncomfortable. At some point during the night, I think I'd scratched myself and then put my hand on my face and it caused some sort of massive reaction into like cellulitis, and it'd make my skin all on my neck and face go very, very dry. It would then peel off. It'd be very then raw red skin, and then the process would start again. And it did that about 5 times. I ended up back in hospital with it because of the reaction I was having. I was classed as in remission, but all the paperwork now shows that it's classed as failed treatment. Everything I went through, even the surgeries, is all now classed as failed. I knew I had a risk of it coming back. It's a slow growing cancer, and if it comes back, it normally comes back in 5 or 10 years. For me, it's never behaved normally. It's behaved, as the doctor calls it, erratically. It'll pop up in a new place every few months. It just keeps popping up in a new area. So it was like a constant battle trying to get on top of it. In the January of last year, I noticed that I was getting the similar sort of symptoms again, but this time it was on my right labia and near my back passage. So I called the hospital and asked if I could bring my appointment forward because they said I'd be on 3-month checkups. They said we need to do more biopsies. So I had more surgery in the March. I was heading towards doing more treatment, and that was in the June time. And I noticed I was getting similar symptoms again, and I ended up having more surgery in the July. And they took more biopsies during that surgery because he found a couple of suspect areas and that he wanted to just double check on. And then he mentioned there that the next surgery was likely to be a lot bigger surgery. My GP had said again, no, it was just a cyst, but I wasn't convinced. And he looked at it and biopsied, and I knew then and there that it was back. Because of the areas where I've had radiotherapy before, if they do radiotherapy again in that same area, it'll cause toxicity within my body, so they can't do that. Immunotherapy, I'm not sure why isn't an option. They've offered me chemo, and they said it'd be 2 different types of chemo, a lot stronger dosages that will make me very poorly, and they can't guarantee that it will do anything. So I've declined that because I've had friends and family be stage 4, go through the treatment and spend whatever time they've had left being really poorly. I don't want that. I want to be able to enjoy my life as much as I can. The surgery is not an option anymore either because of it coming up in new places constantly. I'd just be constantly having surgery. Plus, they also did a scan and they found it internally in my right groin and on one of my lungs. So again, it'd be another massive surgery. And after the last one, which was a 12-hour surgery, I want to avoid that as much as possible because it took me 6 to 8 months to recover from that one. I started the process of some early stage clinical trials. That was a couple of weeks ago. So for that, I've just had lots of bloods taken. Now, with these being early stage, it's very unlikely I'll get any benefit from them. It's more about developing them for future people, which is all I want to do is try and help things for the future because there are no clinical trials. There isn't a direct treatment for vulvar cancer because it's so rare, and I want to try and help with that. So for me, I generally take each day as it comes. I don't know what the future's got in hold for me. They've said they can't say or they won't say how long I've got left, which I'm pleased about because it could be tomorrow, it could be 5 years' time, I don't know. My main support is my husband. He has been an absolute rock. I couldn't have done any of this without him. The worst part for me has been seeing what it has done to him. I've never seen that man cry until 2.5 years ago, and now the man never stops crying. I'm just absolutely wiped out now. I get really, really chronic fatigue now, so I can't do as much as I could. Treatment left me with osteoarthritis in both of my hips, so I get quite a lot of pain. I'm never been that flexible anyway, but I'm not as flexible as I used to be. Plus, I've got lymphedema in one leg now, which then that further complicates it. But I try to get out with the dog most days because she helps she's been a godsend getting me out of the house, because when I went through treatment, it was after we lost our previous dog, and I was just in the house. I never went anywhere. And I knew by getting another dog, it'd get me back out of the house. It'd give me a purpose. My life is much more quieter now, much more relaxed, much more simple. It's been very up and down. I've had a lot of counselling. Um, I was initially seeking out some counselling after the terminal diagnosis, but I've made peace with it now. I'm okay with it now. My biggest worry was about leaving my husband, about how he would cope, but I've realised that's out of my control. So all I can do is make things better and put things in place for when it does happen. And I'm at total peace with it now. It's going to happen when it's going to happen. And until that point, I'm just going to keep living my life. I always say to people, I'm living my life like it's not happening. Cancer takes enough from people, not just the person going through it, but from everyone around them. It sucks everything out of everyone. And I'm determined to let the cancer take the minimal amount it needs to take. It's not taking any more than it has to. I definitely savour the small things now. Like, for instance, when I'm out going for a walk, or even like today when I just took her out, she was in and out of the water, and I can just stand there and I really just soak it in. I love how happy the dog is when we're out in the countryside and things, and like we can like see glorious views. I'll just stand there and like take it in and like enjoy those little moments. I'm just doing what I need to do to get through the day. It's made me rise above. It's made me really like fight, um, and I'm so proud of how I've handled everything. I'm incredibly proud of the awareness that I'm raising, and like a really strong following online now. And I'll speak to different women every single day with concerns over health, vaginal health, and most of the time it turns out to be nothing. But these women have put off going to the doctors for months, and it could be something like an ingrown hair, but they've been worried about it. I'm like, and I always say to people, 95% of the time it'll be nothing. The 5% chance it might be something, not even necessarily cancer, you're getting ahead of it. I did my first TikTok video about the cancer just over a year ago. I just wanted to try and reach as many people as I could, and my initial thing was, if 100 people see the video and I help one person, I'm happy. Nearly 1 million people viewed the video. It was a little bit bonkers. And I talk about my day-to-day life on my TikToks. I'm very honest with everything about how I'm feeling mentally or emotionally. I quite often will do refreshers on my story and what the signs and symptoms of the cancer are. I offer support to women if they want to either ask a question, message me privately, and I always keep everything confidential because that's just how it goes. And I just want to empower women to know what's right for them and what the signs and symptoms are, and what's normal for them. I feel like I'm taking some power back from cancer, and it gives me a real sense of purpose every day. It's also a bit like a therapy for me. I've got a real sense of like pride and passion with raising awareness and just trying to help as many women as I can to look for the signs and symptoms, but also that there is life with cancer. Your life's not over. I mean, even though I'm terminal, my life's not over. I'm still here. I'm still living. Not much stops me, apart from obviously when physically I'm not able to do something, but there is life with cancer. If you are concerned about something, just go and get it checked out, because I had my initial symptoms for 6 months before I did anything. There are 5 gynecological cancers. We all talk about ovarian, womb and cervical cancer, but there's vaginal and vulvar cancer that no one talks about. We need to be more open about this. We need to get medical professionals talking to us about it. Like when we go for a smear test, it's not something that's looked at. But I think when you go for a smear test, that person doing it should be talking to you about all 5 gynae cancers. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, get them checking themselves, and just know what's normal for you. because you don't know what's abnormal if you're not checking yourself. Don't be afraid. It's it's a little bit embarrassing and it's a bit uncomfortable. It's not great, but would you rather have those few seconds of uncomfortable over the rest of your life? I'd take the rest of my life over that any day.